Hello and welcome to part 5 of the series on how to create the Twitch UI with ReactJS. In this part we are first going to start by changing the website, since the Twitch website has changed a little bit. As you can see, it now only has a browse button and a more icon right here. And if we open up our application, we see that we also have the esports and the music buttons. But in a newer update, Twitch has added those buttons at the bottom of the page right here. So let's start by doing that. We are going to open up our code editor and we are going in our navbar component. Since right here we have our navigation section, which is on the left side. So we open up the navigation and we are going to remove the esports and the music, like so. And if it refreshes the page, we will hopefully see that those two are gone. And then we are going to remove the divider, which is between browse and the triple dots, like so. And now we have the same layout as the Twitch page. So we are going to work on a search section this episode. So for the search section, we have a search bar right here with a button you can see on the right. And once we click on the search section, it becomes black and it gets a purple highlight. So let's start by creating a component for it. So we are going to open up our search section. We are going to close the navigation and we're going to open this one. And inside of here, we want to have a search bar. And it isn't as easy as just typing search bar. We actually have to create the search bar. So inside this div, we have an input and we have a button, I think. So, and this input will have a placeholder, which will be search. And then we have our button, which is an icon button. And I don't think we have already created that, so we still need to create that one. But let's start with creating the search section. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to give the search bar a little bit more width. As you can see right here, it's not as wide, and we're going to give it a little bit of padding. So right here we are going to give it a class of search bar, like so. And then we are going to edit our CSS, and in the search section we are going to target search bar and we want to give it a width of 500 pixels, something like that. No, that's way too big. 300 pixels looks already a lot better. I think I'm going to keep it at 280, and then we are going to give it a little bit of padding, something like 5 pixels. I think that looks good, maybe even 8 pixels, like so. And then we want to give it a little bit of border radius. So we actually only want to give the border radius to the top left and the bottom left, since on the right side it has to connect with the button. So we are going to say border top left radius, and we're going to say 5 pixels, and then border bottom left radius, also 5 pixels. And if we save this, we will see that our input now has a nice little border. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to target the color of the input. I've just copied it, and now we are going to put it right here. Background color, which will be this one. Okay, nice. And then we are going to copy the color of the search text. So if I can just grab it a little bit, like so. I hope this is the good one. We are going to say color, this one, and well, it looks decent. Maybe a little bit too dark actually, so I'm just going to light this up a little bit. Yeah, like so. We want a capital S, and then we want to make it, I think, bold, or we at least want to change the font weight and font family. The font family will be Roboto, like so, and then our font weight will be 500, I think. Yes. And then we want to make it a little bit bigger, so font size of 14 pixels. So I totally forgot we were working with rem, so I'm going to say font size of 1.1 rem. Okay, that's way too big, so we're going to keep it at 0.5. That's too small. 0.8 looks better. 0.9, yes. I'm going to keep it at 0.9, and then we want to give it actually the border radius, the border has to be the same color of the search background, or the background of the input. And when we hover over it, we want it to become lighter, the same color as the search placeholder color. So Let's see, we are going to give the border color, and then we're going to just copy over this value like so. And then we want to remove the let's see, we get a little box around it when we click on it, so we want to remove that. So to do that, we are going to give it an outline of none. So right here we're going to outline none like so. And then let's see, we still have a little bit of a darker color at the top and the left, I think. So changing the border color into a border of 1 pixel solid, and then the color which we want to give it seems to solve the problem. So next up, when we hover over it, we want it to become the lighter color. So we are going to say search section search bar hover. We want to give it the border of 1 pixel solid and then the color of the text. So, and let's see, yes, now we have a nice little transition from the dark and the light border color, but as you can see, it's way too light. So I'm just going to a little bit darker again, like so. And I'm going to keep it at that. And next up, we are going to change the input when we click on it. So I think we can use the focused selector. So search section search bar focus, and then we can say background color of black. So what happens if we click on it now? Yes, we get a nice black background color. That's good. And then we want to change the border into the color which we use right there, I think. So I think that was our primary color, and we have defined that in our app.css. So right here we have our primary color. So let's see, right here we are going to say border 1 pixel solid and bar primary color, like so. And now as you can see, when we click on it, it gets a nice little purple background color. And I'm actually going to increase the size of our border to 2 pixels everywhere. Yes, okay, so that looks a lot better already. And I think next up we are going to add the button right here on the right. So we actually want to create an icon button. So let's start off by creating the button actually. So we are first going to pick the color, which is this one. Then in our search section, we are going to give a class name to our button. And then we are going to style it. And we're going to give it a background color of this color. And as you can see, it is actually not really working because we don't have a width and a height for the button. So if we give it a width of 32 pixels, then a height of 50 pixels, something like that. As you can see, that's way too much. It's bigger than the input. So I think a height of 100% will fix this, I hope. And as you can see, it did not. So we are first going to tackle that problem. Yeah, okay, so the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to give a height of 100% to the button and a height of 100% to our input. So right here we have our input. I'm going to say height 100%. And they are still not equally as big. So I'm wondering why that is actually. If we look at the CSS that it is generating, okay, so we should add display of flags. Yeah, so now they are appearing next to each other. That's good. Let's see, search section, display flags. So by using display flags, we now see that the button and the input are next to each other. And then we are going to align them in the center. We are going to align items center, like so. Next, we are going to add a little padding from the top and the bottom. So 10 pixels on the top, 0 pixels on the right, 10 pixels bottom, 0 pixels from the left. And as you can see, the button is already a lot smaller and the input section is still too big. So we're going to say 15 pixels. And I'm going to make it 18 pixels. Well, 15 was fine, I think. Yeah. So the problem right now is that the button is smaller than the input. So to fix this, we are going to give the button equally as much padding as the input. So right here we have our button. We had a padding of 8 pixels, and we will see that nothing happens. So that's really nice if nothing is happening, but we are actually going to find out why nothing is happening. So the solution to this is that our input field is actually having a attribute which is border box or box sizing, and the box sizing is content box. So our button doesn't have the box sizing of content box, it's border box. And as you can see, when we switch to border box in the input, it is just as small as our button. But we don't want that. We actually want to do the opposite. We want to change the box sizing of our button to content box, like so. And now you can see the button is almost as big as our input, but since our input has a border of 2 pixels, see, border width 2 pixels, yes, right here. Our button also needs to have that 2 pixel advantage, or well, sizing. So we are just going to add it to the padding of 10 pixels. So those two things we are going to add to our code. The first is padding of 10 pixels, and then we are going to change the box sizing, which will be content box, like so. And if we refresh the page, we will see that our button is still the good size. And if I look at the Twitch page, we actually might want to scale this button a little bit down to 16 pixels. Well, I'm going to keep it at 20, like so. And then we are going to add a little bit of border radius as well, just like we did to our search bar. So we gave it a border top left radius of 5 pixels. For the button, we want to do the exact opposite. We only want to do the top right and the bottom right. You can see the left side is just as sharp as the right side of the input. So we are going to add a border top right radius 5 pixels and a border bottom right radius of 5 pixels, like so. And as you can see, our button is now, or our input is now being displayed nicely, which is really good. The last thing we need to do is we need to create an icon, and actually we want also this really cool mouse hover effect of not being able to search. So let's see. First thing we are going to do is we're going to add the icon, and we are going to add the icon from the material UI icons library. So in our navigation section, we already imported an icon right here, and we are going to try to import that to here. Let's see. Oh, wait, this is the icon button. I'm sorry. We need to go to our icon button component. Here we are importing the icon. So what happens? Let's see how we did it right here. We just put an icon inside of it. Okay. So if we just do this, it shouldn't, yeah, we should see it right here. Okay, nice. But we actually want a little bit of a class or a search thingy. I don't know if they have it. Search, like so. And then we are going to import it right here. I hope this works. Ah, yes, excellent. Okay. Now we want to change the color of the search icon to the color of the background input. So search section, the background input right here, and our icon will be that color. Section, search button, and then I think it's an SVG. So we are going to target it like so, and we are going to give it a color of 464649. Yes, nice. And then let's see. We want to center it, I think, or it is already centered. I don't know. Let's see. What if we add a display of flex, align items of center? Okay, so now it's more centered. This is always how I center things. I add a display of flex to the parent, align item center, that centers them vertically, and I do the justify content center, which centers them horizontally. We could also, I think, do display grid and then put items or items place items center. I think that's the, yeah, something like that. Place content maybe. Yeah, place content. Okay. So as you can see, if we turn this off, it's a little bit to the bottom right, and if we turn this on, in the center. So we're actually going to use this neat solution, which is only 2 lines instead of the display flex with 4 lines in total, or sorry, 3 lines. So right here in our search button, we are going to say display grid, even though it is not actually grid, and then place content center. Go. And now our icon is in the center of the button. So that's really good. Let's see if we got everything. If we focus this, we get a nice black background and a purple border. The same right here. And then when we hover over it, we get a cool. Oh wait, we don't. So let's see. That's the last thing we are going to do. Search section, search button, hover. Then we want to make the cursor a not allowed, I think. Wow, nice. Yeah, this looks good. Okay, nice. So congratulations, we have created the input with the search button, which we cannot actually use. Oh, I see, if we click on it, it gets an outline. We also want to remove that. Outline none, just as we did with our yes. Now it doesn't show the outline anymore. So that was the same as that we had to do with the input right here. But anyways, I hope you could follow along. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!